Welcome back. I'm Dave Gowell, and I love projects, but project management sometimes drives me crazy. This is the second in my series of short videos on projects and project leadership. If you haven't seen the first one, I urge you to go back and check that out first, because each one builds upon the one before it. As I said in the first video, I love projects. I love that people can conceive a big idea in their head and go out and do it and change the world with it. I love that we can all learn how to do this. That's exciting. I love projects because they are challenging, they are fun, and sometimes they can change the world. Trouble is, learning to lead projects ain't easy, Skippy. In fact, it's probably the hardest thing to teach. Why is it so hard to learn? I think it's because projects usually involve a large and varied team. They are complex and full of interdependent parts. They are often long-term endeavors, and they're frequently composed of both sequential and simultaneous tasks. And projects are very often really expensive. To repeat, large team, complex, interdependent, long-term, and expensive. 5 factors that make projects really difficult to learn. Let's see how each of these factors relates to leading projects. Projects almost always involve a large and varied team. In fact, I believe that the team is one of the 2 most important parts of a project. The many different members of the team possess many different skill sets. They all have to work together in a coordinated manner. And the team is a lot larger than you might see. Before these people got together to construct that building, there were probably sales teams involved in putting the deal together. And there were probably project teams too. Complex means the opposite of simple, right? Complex means consisting of many different and connected parts, sometimes a great many. A large project might involve thousands of different tasks. And projects often involve tasks and teams that are geographically spread out. Interdependent means the opposite of linear. Learning Excel is linear. You can learn it as a series of small stages, like walking on a series of stepping stones. You can usually focus on just one thing at a time. Projects, on the other hand, consist not only of many tasks, but lots of those tasks rely on each other, sort of like bees and flowers rely on each other. Flowers need bees to pollinate them. Bees need flowers to provide nectar so they can make honey to feed their young. Okay, get ready. This next one's going to be weird. Plover birds feed on the bits of food they find between the teeth of crocodiles. Crocodiles need plover birds to clean their teeth, so they let them do it. In a project, some task can't begin until some other task ends, or some other task begins, or some other task is exactly halfway done. And some tasks have to happen simultaneously. And all of this coordination is going on while the project is happening. It's a little like trying to fix a plane while you're flying it. The real problem with learning to lead projects comes from the fact that projects are both complex and interdependent. These 2 factors don't add up. They multiply. They multiply the difficulty. Let's see what we can do using our hands as an example of what I mean here. Counting on your fingers is simple and linear. Most 3-year-old children can do it. Washing your hands is also simple. One single person can do it alone. But it is also interdependent. One hand washes the other. I wonder how a one-armed man washes his hand. When an audience applauds, there are a lot of different moving parts, but they're all doing the same thing at the same time. So it's complex, but it's linear. And it lasts for a minute or two, and then it's over. Now, here's a group of students who took the concept of hand clapping and made it both complex and interdependent. Watch this. Now that was a project. You can imagine how long that team must have worked on that. Let's look at another completely different example. Let's say our project involves getting to the top of Devil's Tower in Wyoming. How can we get up there? We could build a ladder. That would be simple and linear. One single person could build a ladder all by themselves, and a single person could climb that ladder. Or we could take a helicopter. That solution would be faster and easier for the one person catching that ride. But how about all the other people involved in building that helicopter? And all the people who maintain it? And helicopters need fuel, and it takes a lot of different people to pump that fuel out of the ground. And a lot of other people to refine that fuel and transport it and sell it and fill the fuel tanks of the helicopter. And a lot of other people to work in the air traffic control tower to guide that helicopter in and out of the airport. Catching that quick ride might have involved hundreds or maybe even thousands of other people. It's a complex and interdependent project. And projects are often long-term. They might go on for months or even years. Here's a group of people crossing a body of water on stepping stones. Looks like fun, right? But imagine it's a really big body of water, and they need to keep walking across the stones for 4 months. Don't worry, they can sleep at night. They only need to walk on the stones for 8 or 9 hours each day. But that's nothing like a project, because we already talked about stepping stones. They are linear. Each person only has to step on one stone at a time, and each stone only has room for one person at a time. It would be boring and exhausting, but much less difficult than leading a large project. Here's a very high-level overview of a relatively simple project lasting just 1 month. See how many tasks have multiple people working on them? See how many people are involved in a variety of different tasks? See how many tasks have dependencies to other tasks. The dependencies are indicated by the little blue arrows. Coordinating all those tasks and all those people over all that time is just one of the things that makes learning to lead projects so difficult. And finally, projects are often expensive. This is the Golden Gate Bridge. This project cost $76 million in 1933. That's $1.5 billion in today's currency. That's quite a bit more than I have budgeted for my bird feeder project. The extra zeros on the checks by themselves aren't the problem. Honestly, I can write a check for $1 million in about the same time as I can write one for $10. Only one of those checks is going to be any good, though. But a large project is going to involve writing a lot of checks to a lot of different people and a lot of different vendors. And when I buy $10 worth of nails from Home Depot, I don't need a contract. But if I'm ordering 72 million cubic yards of concrete delivered at precise moments in time, and the concrete has to pass very sophisticated engineering tests, you can bet your sweet bippy I'm going to write a contract and have it approved by my legal team, my engineering team, my financial team, and my boss. Right, honey? So those are just 5 reasons why learning to lead projects is a lot more challenging than learning Excel or PowerPoint, or maybe even brain surgery. But those 5 factors aren't what makes me crazy. I like challenges. I like complicated things. I like interdependence. And I love spending money. What really makes me crazy is the tendency for some project managers to make it all seem even more complicated than it really needs to be. For example, instead of calling this a matrix, they call it a multi-criteria decision analysis tool. Say what now? And instead of calling this a workplace, they talk about enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. Huh? And instead of talking about interdependence, some project managers use terms like using a schedule network analysis technique by performing a forward and backward pass analysis on a network diagram to reveal the critical path, the free float, and the total float of the project. End quote. I am not kidding. Come on, people. We're leading projects here. We should be paid for the value of our results, not for the words we use to describe our processes. We should be valued for the quality of our tangibles, not the quantity of our syllables. Ah, you're making me crazy. In this session, we talked about what projects are and what they all have in common. We talked about some aspects of projects that you might find to be challenging, fun, or rewarding. We talked about why learning to lead projects can be difficult, and about how some project managers seem to want to make it look even harder than it really is. In the next video of this series, we'll discuss the 5 crucial parts of a project, and I'll show you some of the most amazing projects I have ever seen. I hope you enjoyed this session. Project management makes me crazy. If you did, you'll probably like the next one even more, the 5 parts of a project. Thanks for watching, and have a super great day.